Hey everyone, well, we're back again. Yes, we are. And I've got another request video here that I would like to attempt to do here today. And the title of this one is called Twin Flames Karmic Relationships. Hmm. Okay, I've already done, I think, on two different occasions, um, videos on karma. And I want to kind of do a little bit of a refresh here on this one. And also kind of make a little bit of information available here that may sort out some confusion that's going on in the twin flame community. We seem to have a segment here which numbers a great deal of people who are calling this a twin flame relationship. All right. And they're using such expressions like, my twin flame and I are working out our karma. And then we have another segment in the twin flame community of actual twin flames themselves, ones who have come in the first or second or third wave, who are together or not together in a particular relationship, and they're doing the mission, either with or without their partner. And there's a distinct difference here. And part of the confusion here is this is a lot of people I don't think are understanding that the twin flame connection, the twin flame energy is now available to everyone on the planet when, and I emphasize this point, and I really emphasize this point, when the soul of the individual designate that it's time for that experience. That doesn't mean that the person who's in physical reality, in 3D, actually would think they might be ready for the experience, hence the chaos and confusion that goes on with the activation of these twin flame connections. And what happens at this particular point is as they're going through it and they're making the connection with this other person, is in many cases they feel, due to what they call past life experiences or carryovers, that they're working through karma. All right. In actual fact, when I've done a bit of studying with people, is karma is not the right word anymore. It just isn't. All right. Karma almost sounds like some kind of a punishment. All right. That if you do something to somebody else, you're going to have to come back in and repay it. And interestingly enough, you know, here's where a lot of people are going to have to start opening their minds up a little bit and understanding, because here's something I want everybody to kind of chew on for a minute. Is it possible that a good number of you out there who are so learned in the spiritual community could grasp the concept that this is a school, that this is where souls come in to experience many things? I think there's this fantasy belief system in the spiritual community that every soul that comes in wants to live, for lack of a better expression, the American dream, to be doing nothing but fulfill themselves, be happy, fulfilled, have all of the material needs that they want, and life is just a piece of cake. You know, at some point you have to think about, are there souls that come in that really want to experience, say, negative lifetimes? They want to get into being a drug addict or an alcoholic, or they want to be a soldier, they want to be involved in wars, they want to experience all kinds of stuff like that. But that never seems to come up in the spiritual community. It's always assumed that if you do this type of thing, all right, you're going to have to come back and repay the person that you may have done the harm to, all right? That belief system is hundreds, if not thousands of years old, and it just doesn't fit anymore. It doesn't fit. So in reality, I don't understand why people still want to drag this same old crap into the twin flame experience and say they're experiencing karma, because they're not experiencing karma with their twin flame. What they're doing is they're just dealing with symptoms and patterns and behaviors that they experienced at another level in a particular sojourn or a go around or in a different timeline. And the bottom line is this, all right, and I want to emphasize this point, is everyone that is probably going to listen to this video, like it or not, all right, and I mean they either like it or they don't, has at some point in time experienced a heart center awakening. Now, I know a lot of the spiritual community will say, oh, when you're experiencing heart center awakening, you're emanating unconditional love, all right? Well, that's fine. I can accept that concept and belief system. My preference is I like to call it source creative energy, all right, because it comes right from source. So therefore, if it's coming right from source, all right, and here I'm going to sound repetitive again, if it's coming right from source and you and you and you and you and you have experienced a heart center awakening, and initially in the beginning you have no control over it at all, you had no input as to what the energy was doing, where it was going through your body, through the mental body, through the emotional body, through the etheric body, through the organs in your body, and it was just ebbing and flowing all over the place. You had no control over it. Did any of you ever stop and think what the hell it was doing in all of these different bodies? Has it occurred to any of you that besides going through the mental, the emotional, the etheric, the physical, and the etheric, that it may have gone through the subtle bodies also, what I call the sheath bodies? And while it's doing all of that, it cleared out, brought back into balance all of those energetic templates, all right, that were out of balance, dysfunctional, and turned the individual back into a balanced soul at a soul level. Now I said soul level, all right? And the soul expression is through that body or the vehicle through all of those other bodies. So how can one say that this is karma if one can come to the conclusion that this is a school and there are actually souls that come in to actually experience what we would call bad or negative or dysfunctional things, all right? All souls don't come in this world, in this reality, to be good neighbors, all right, and to do wonderful things. They come in sometimes to be assholes, literally, because this is a school. This is where we come to develop and experience all kinds of venues and avenues. But in the spiritual community, we don't seem to want to get into that at all. We just want to get into the fluff and the soft and the fleazy and the soft and gooey stuff, okay? When in reality, that just shows how immature so many people who think they're actually spiritually awakened, how immature they really are. And to say at this particular point that you're working through twin flame karma in your relationship is an illusion, because all of that stuff has been washed away or gotten rid of. It has. It's gone. So why keep hashing it around? All right? Why? Because the energetic template of it is gone, but you have the memory. Here's what's happening. As you go along and you start to wake up, all right, let me tell you some of the things that you discover. And some of you may not digest this very well. You discover, like I've discovered, like hundreds and thousands of other people have discovered, that reincarnation is nothing more than a belief system that has been ingrained and programmed into us by religious indoctrination and teaching for millennia. There is so much that religion does not want us to know. They want to keep us dumbed down. And somewhere along the line, as you begin to awaken and you've kind of let go of some of those old belief systems and your mind becomes open, it no longer goes into a defense mechanism. When someone steps on your belief system a little bit and you're open a bit and you don't get rattled and you have to defend or attack because someone's giving something that really upsets your boat, you get to the point where you can experience more things. And you can experience such strange and nebulous things like simultaneous lifetimes all at the same time, in the now, the past, and the future. Holy crap! What does this do to reincarnation? It blows it all to hell. So there we go. So if it blows it all to hell, then this stuff about karma is an illusion also. It's nothing more than a belief system. And if people take a look at it, you weren't born with the belief system about karma. You had to learn it somewhere. You learned it from a teaching, a teacher, an indoctrination, a religion, somewhere. All the material that we have right now, with the exception of new stuff that's coming in, there's been stuff that has been regurgitated and passed down from one generation to the other. And all of that stuff has been let go of now through the Heart Center Awakening. All right? So in essence, you still have the memories of these experiences because you're awakening. And gradually, as you let go of them and stop thinking, here's another thing that I hear all of the time, which is really, in my opinion, very self-destructive. My twin flame and I are working through our karma. You know, one of the things that I've discovered is when I finally got accustomed to the idea of going through a spiritual awakening, a Kundalini awakening, heart center activation, and all of those wonderful things. And when I finally grew up and surrendered to the process and actually changed my lifestyle around and adapted it to the awakening process that I was living and going through, I started having a lot of fun. I did. It's when people resist their spiritual awakening and they don't adapt their environment to their personal awakening. But everybody's awakening is going to be a little bit different. Everybody's unique in that sense. So when you don't adapt and you don't change your environment and you're resisting the process by hanging on to a belief system, all you're doing is congesting, plugging, stopping, or simply cutting back on the flow of what's coming to you down the road. So the idea of karmic relationships is nothing more than a belief system, because the actual fact of the energies that have been all since removed and gone everywhere from all of the bodies. Now, in the case of the volunteers that come in, all right, keep in mind here that everybody on the planet at this point can have access to, at some point, at their soul's discretion, access to the twin flame experience or the twin flame connection. Everyone will. But we do have first, second, and third wave twin flames who have planned to come in, and these ones are volunteers who have previously graduated. All right. Now, when I say previously graduated, what's happened is they have done all the relationships that they want to have. They've been in every type of gender relationship that can possibly exist. They have experienced the unconditional love thing many times over. They have done all the dysfunctional patterns that they want to do. They have lived the positive, the negative lifetimes, whatever you want to call them. They've completed them all. And they don't go, when they leave the physical body, back into the astrals, the etheric, or the belief system's realities. They go to a different place, in a different dimension, in a different reality. And there they exist in humanoid form, but they're gender neutral. You might call them multidimensional beings. They've evolved beyond the human experience. Now, what they do have is they do have access to all of the information, all of the knowledge, all of the experience, be it positive or negative, as it was experienced in the earth plane, at their fingertips, so to speak. So when they come in with a clear etheric body. The average soul coming in is, by definition, still carrying those energetic templates, all right, as they come in, which have now been cleared. So there's a big difference here. So when twin flames that are going to be doing the mission come in, They come in with a clear etheric body. What they do is, because they have a clear etheric body, they are able to come into particular soul groups and take on all of the positive, negative patterns, whatever you want to call them, belief system, ideologies, philosophies, drug addictions, anything you name it, they can take it on because they can actually, with a little bit of luck and some tailwind, and it's pretty challenging now, work through them. And what I mean by work through them is when they begin their awakening process, is they can actually cleanse and purge it out of the system for not only them, but for the whole soul group they're working with, which in some cases can entail thousands of souls. All right. Now, that doesn't mean there's a form of elitism here. Okay. And that doesn't mean that these are special, unique, or saints or anything of that nature. They're just ordinary souls like everybody else. Everybody, sooner or later, I hope, will graduate. I hope. All right. Like, and some people say, well, I don't care really if I graduate this lifetime or not. No big deal. I come back and do it again. Yeah, okay, you can say that, and that's what you want to do. That's entirely up to you at a soul level. That's not up to you at a conscious level in the physical reality. All right. You can say it, but it's not up to you. It's up to your soul self as to how long it's going to take and how difficult it's going to be. So the idea here that you have a karmic relationship when you have the twin flame connection is not possible. What you have is memories that you have access to of things that have happened, but the actually templating and anything that you think would be karma has been eliminated from it. All right. So in other words, imagine, you've gone out and you've cut your hand. All right. And it's really bad, and you got to go get stitches, and it's painful, and your hand is wrapped up, and you're taking all kinds of shit and everything else to deal with the pain and everything else that goes on with it. Well, what happens after a period of time is you forget about the pain, but you never forget about the experience. That's what I'm talking about. That's an example of what I'm talking about. When people talk about karma, they talk about as if it's pain, debt, or whatever. In order to entail karma, you have to have done something negative or painful to somebody else. All right. That's what I'm talking about. So the memory is still there, but the pain, all right, and anything that you think you have to do to pay back that person, which is total bullshit. You don't. There is no right. There is no wrong. I constantly hear this on, from the spiritual community. There is no right. There is no wrong. They haven't got a clue what they're talking about. Because when you ask them, if you go out and, in a lifetime and you kill somebody, does that mean you have to come back and pay that person back? Of course they're going to say yes. Well, you have to deal with your karma. And then they turn around and they say, well, there is no right. There is no wrong. So they're contradicting themselves. They literally don't know what the hell they're talking about. And they think you're spiritually evolved. So this is the kind of situation that I listen to and I see and I hear, especially in a lot of twin flame groups. You get all of this kind of talk going on, and all it is just regurgitation of stuff that they've picked up from people facilitating these groups and instilling these kinds of belief systems and keep people in loops all of the time. So this is what I wanted to do with this video, is just to kind of get in there and kind of give you a different perspective and a different point of view from someone who no longer believes in reincarnation, all right, and from someone who has and is at this time experiencing simultaneous lifetimes while I'm going on, and at the same time I'm accessing information from some of these other lifetimes of myself in different timelines and realities, and they're able to convey that information or send it back and forth between each other. So I'm helping them, they're helping me, helping you, hopefully, in that particular scenario. So you need to get to the point where the mind is open, because we're becoming more and more multidimensional, and more of our consciousness is beginning to expand. And this idea of karmic relationships is totally an illusion. The problem is if people still believe that they're working through karma, they actually do things. They would use techniques, or they would use whatever information they could find, because there's a lot of information on how to help your karmic twin flame, how to help your karmic soulmate, how to eliminate your own karma. And as long as you keep doing that, you're participating in actually recreating the actual energetic templates that go right back in. So you're creating your own karma, if you want to call it that. You're redoing it. You're actually reprogramming yourself for the stuff that doesn't even exist anymore, because your heart center awakening, which is a gift from Source Creator, call it God if you want to, if you're feeling really religious, you have had your whole sheet, your whole embodiments, all of them, completely washed clean. If you remember the beginning when you had the heart center awakening, you had no control over it. All right? And you followed and did what was applicable and necessary for you. And now what's happened is, at this particular point, we are being given back, as it were, the use of our consciousness because we've come out of diapers. We're moving into a situation now where our consciousness has expanded enough that we're no longer acting on this planet like 6-year-olds in adult bodies for most of the eternity as it is. We're now becoming young adults, even if we're in older bodies, and our consciousness is expanded to that particular point, and we're changing the things that are going on. And some of these old concepts need to be let go of rather quickly, because this is what is happening at the moment. So there you go. You see, it's not complicated. You don't have to work through karma. All that stuff has already been eliminated from everyone. That's the gift. That's the event, people, that already happened. You know, it's funny, I laugh. You know, I keep hearing people, oh, the event's coming. We're going to have another event. We're going to have another event. The event already happened. And the event was the mass awakening of heart center chakras on this planet. And the events that everybody keeps talking about is just the ripple effect from the original event. Because as we grow and evolve, we keep getting access to more information. We keep getting access to higher states of consciousness. We keep getting access to higher input of energy. Why? Because our consciousness can handle it. Our mental body can handle it. Our emotional bodies, for a lot of us, is becoming more and more stable. So we can handle it. So there is no new events coming. They're all the ripple effect of the original event, which happened about 30 years ago, which was the beginning of the heart center awakening. And we still don't get it in the spiritual community. We keep waiting for something that's already here. And it's been here for that long. Now all we got to do is to realize it's here and stop looking down the road for something we think is coming and pay attention to what's going on at the moment and get right into it. And then we're really going to take off. Trust me, I know. I'm done. Have a good day, everyone.